Hey guys! I don't know if I've done an April vlog or not, or if I've started it, so hi everybody! Nice to see you if I haven't. To be honest, I've been a bit terrified of doing vlogs while Miles has been napping because I don't know whether he is going to wake up to my voice or not. So far he seems to be sleeping still, and I think he seems to be able to sleep fairly well, so I'm gonna keep talking because he hasn't really made a sound so far, and I wanna keep doing these vlogs. I don't know what day it is in August, but I want to show you guys, give you a renovation update if I haven't in a while, show you guys the state of our house at the moment, what it normally looks like on a Monday because it's Monday today. I still keep the weekends as a bit of a not doing much. I tend to be less motivated when Daniel's here, want to spend time with him, want to have a relax, so the washing doesn't generally get done. Dishes normally do, especially because we're still with a limited kitchen at the moment and we have limited dishes, so they need to keep turning over. It's actually quite lovely to have not many dishes at all because they don't pile up, but also I have time, like part of my day is doing chores, so that's probably a part of it. This is the lounge room at the moment. It is a bit messy, but that's okay. Most of it's our mess. Yep, can't really blame it on the kid yet. I've changed so I got this mat off the internet. It's a really soft mat for Miles to do his tummy time on because the floor here is all just floating floor, and I didn't want it to be painful for him because we only had a thin mat, and it's really good, this one. It's thick and spongy, but he also doesn't lose his head in the tummy time. I was a bit worried about it being too plush and his head not being able to breathe, but it's absolutely fine. He doesn't sink into it that much, just enough for it to be soft. That's his room. That mattress was on the floor out here recently because I was getting a bit of a cold, and it's the first one I've had since having Miles, and because we're breastfeeding exclusively, I can't get any, I don't get a break regardless, so we had a mattress on the floor, and my plan was if he wasn't going to nap and if I was exhausted and got really sick, we were just going to lie out there together. Thankfully it only lasted for a couple of days, which was really good. But this is the state of the lounge room. I quite often will fold the laundry up on the back of the couch and then try and put it away throughout the day at some stage, because Miles is doing all of his naps in our room at the moment because we're keeping him in our room until he starts to roll and needs to go into his cot. I find it really difficult to do chores in our bedroom, but I'm trying to utilise my mum a bit more. We had a bit of a chat about it, that when she would come over twice a week, we would just talk, which is good, but I can also be talking and doing washing or talking and cleaning the house. I don't have to be just talking and sitting there with her. I need to be doing other things as well. So I'm going to utilize that a lot more today. I'm going to go pick up my groceries when she's here and also go get some jeans because I don't fit into my pre-pregnancy jeans, and I don't know when I will, and I'm not putting pressure on myself, but I'm going to get a little bit sick of wearing leggings. I enjoy wearing leggings. It's really nice, but if I want to be a bit dressier, then I want to wear jeans. And I'm also going to get a few things from Big Dub as well. I want to get a sports bra because I have more boobs than I thought I would. I don't know what I was expecting, but I have more boobs and I want to eventually start running again. Not that I've run a lot, but just a little bit. This is our kitchen still. I think you guys have seen it before. Those over there are the kitchen cupboards that are starting to be put together. They're just the inner shells. They're actually going to be black. So we've got these are the outsides of the kitchens covered in plastic, so that it's fine even though they're kind of on the floor. And yeah, so hopefully soon, now that we know what is going on with Miles, that he will sleep at night even if he's had a bit of a busy day or a disjointed day, I'm feeling happy and confident enough to renovations to be started again. Daniel just has to fix up some stuff at a friend's place. He's actually putting in his kitchen, but he's been renovating for years before us, and Daniel's doing all the electrical stuff for him. Oh, here's my mum. She's here. Hello.
Hello.
I'm just doing a vlog.
Ah.
And we have the fireplace in. I don't know if I've showed you guys the fireplace, but it's in. We've got to paint the wall behind it and decide on decoration stuff. He's in his bed. You can go peer at him. Got that all to sort out as well eventually, but we can use the fireplace. We do have an air conditioning because it's winter in Australia at the moment, but it's been nice with the ambience of the fire. I bought Daniel, because his birthday's in July, I bought him a whistling kettle as a present because he said that he really wanted one. Keeps moisture in the air, and we also have cups of tea when there's a fire. There's still a hole in the kitchen up here. We're actually going to replaster this because apparently this roof is not even with this one. I don't really know like how that's all going to happen, but eventually it will. We've still got to sheet the back wall, put the curtain up properly, obviously. There's little coopies, and we've got to do door jambs, the things that go around the doors, whatever that's called, the skirting, but for the doors. There's the other side of our lovely double-sided fireplace. So it's getting there, but now we can restart things since we know what's going on with the baby. I'm nap trapped at the moment, hence little Bobby's head. I'll just quickly mention before I start talking that this will probably be triggering to parents with kids that don't sleep much at all, because we are pretty, I'm still going to say lucky. I'm trying not to say that he's a good baby based on the fact that he sleeps, because all babies are good babies regardless of how much they sleep or cry. But experiencing this myself, I do understand where that comes from, and I can't deny that I am lucky that he sleeps. It's the quickest reason that I felt like myself again, that I have time to do these vlogs, that I have time to read, which I love doing. I have a reading channel, in case you didn't know, that I have time to tidy the house and do XYZs. It's because he's been sleeping. But today has been a bit frustrating. I just kind of feel burnt out in general, and I'm making sure to communicate with Daniel about this, that I'm feeling burnt out and that I need a break. And especially because we're exclusively breastfeeding, I don't get a break from doing that. Maybe it's sort of, I guess, an idea to slowly start looking into formula a bit more. Not all the time, but just some of the time to be looking into doing that. But then I don't want to do that without our kitchen being in yet, because all like the prep and the cleanup with the bottles and sterilizing and everything like that. My plan was to express a bit every day, probably the first feed of the morning, but it's just really hard not having a kitchen to do that. And even though we have a water source and a sink and a laundry, the taps to do it are really hard because they're the old twist ones, and also because they're, I don't know, like whatever the mechanics is within it, that you've got to tighten them really hard to stop them from leaking. It's another barrier to doing this when there's already so much more to do. Go back to sleep, honey. Shh. Shh, shh, shh. When there's already so much to do as a stay-at-home parent. So it's just a lot, and we're just adjusting. I was talking to my mum about this yesterday and it's something that I've read as well a lot in preparation for having a bubba, but Mum and I were talking about this too, is that you feel like you get into a rhythm and you know what to expect and what's going on, and then all of a sudden bubba grows and everything changes and you've just got to try and play catch up again. He was napping for 2 hours really easily, maybe a little bit disturbed in the middle, but most of the time he wouldn't even need me because I let him cry for a couple minutes and then he would go back to sleep again. So he was syncing his sleep cycles really well by himself. But now at the moment he's only sleeping for an hour and then waking up, and I don't know whether I need to persist more. I think because he used to wake up at the 40-minute mark, which I know is a baby's sleep cycle, I'd be happier to persist, but now he's waking up at the hour mark. I kind of feel like, is he done with sleep? Is he not? He's 2.5 months-ish today, and he still sleeps really well overnight. Yesterday was a good day until the evening. My mum came over, which was really nice. He went down for a nap really easily, and then I went to Big W while she stayed and babysat him, which was really nice, and she hung out some washing for me and I think did the dishes as well, or like vacuumed all those lovely things that mums or good mums do for you. And I went to Big W and it was really good because I bought all of these clothes and found out what my sizes are again, or at least at the moment post baby, which is just so crazy. The range of different sizes. I've been really lucky as well to have been pretty well proportioned so that my top size mirrored my bottom, but I'm just all over the place at the moment with sizes, and I'm really glad that I followed a lot of Instagram accounts that have talked about clothes fitting you, not you fitting the clothes, so that it wasn't such a big punch to my gut to see what all these different sizes are. It's merely just an interesting notation to be like, these are all different sizes, that's interesting. And Mum left after I came back around sort of lunchtime, and then my best friend come over, and that was a lot of fun too because we caught up on stuff, and Miles slept for most of her visit, even though we were talking and laughing and giggling like a pack of teenagers again. And then he was quite happy to just sit with us still, so I had a good day. But then Daniel was overdoing some work at a friend's place, so he wasn't able to do bath time. I can do bath time. It's a bit harder because we don't have a kitchen. I could put him in the laundry tub, but it's just hard because of the taps, and our bathroom is a shower bath, and so and it's a fairly high bath, I think, so it's hard for me to step in and out with him safely. So I didn't give him a proper bath, which I think he really enjoys and relaxes, and that was okay. He still stayed up for a bit before bed, and I put him to bed, and he was fine. Daniel got home, we had some connection together, and that was good. But then he woke up after being asleep for only like less than 2 hours, which is so unusual for him. Normally when we put him down at night, he's out and he doesn't make a peep until it's time for his next feeding, which is generally 4 hours after I've put him down. So because he's been reliably like that, I feel like I have time for myself just to breathe and to feel like I'm done. But because he's been a bit unsettled these last couple of days, and then actually properly woke up and we couldn't get him back to sleep, I actually had to feed him again, and this was at 10, I think, and already I was feeling like I hadn't had enough time, and I was going to stay, or it was 9:30 I think actually, and I wanted to stay up an extra half an hour beyond what I normally do because I hadn't felt like I'd had enough time that day to I don't know what it was. I was just feeling maybe burnt out again or something. I don't know. And so we couldn't get him back to sleep at all. So I fed him back to sleep. And that was fine. But then it was like 10 o'clock and I knew I should have gone to bed. But I just needed just to stay up a little bit longer and do my own thing until 10:30, which I did. And then we went to bed. But then he kind of was a bit, like I think he slept for 3 hours the first lot. But then after that he was kind of waking up more regularly than he normally does. And he did have a nap, I think for like an hour, and I had a sleep, so I'm feeling better, but I'm just letting him nap with me at the moment because I think he needs it. I might go now and I'm gonna read, which will be lovely, because there is a sense of calmness when he's napping on me, even if I don't like it happening all the time, because I don't like to be nap trapped all the time. It does give me a sense of calm because I know that he's less likely to wake up. I'm not as anxiously thinking he's in his bassinet, is he going to cry at any moment, which is a big thing that I've had to let go of, a massive thing that I've had to really work to let go of and just go, you cannot control when he's going to wake up. You can't control it at all. And I really understand how parents get obsessed with sleep because it is a big thing. And when they sleep a long time, you think, how can I replicate that? Why did it work that time and it doesn't all the time? What should I do different? I'll go back and analyze my Huckleberry app, which I really like, that I can mainly to know, not so much feeding, but mainly just to know like when he went down for a nap, to know whether I should settle him back to sleep or let him wake up or not. But then sometimes I kind of think, is it even worth it? Especially with maybe the sleeping overnight thing. Maybe for nighttime, this has kind of made me realize to stop recording it and to stop looking at the time. Overnight, I just get so obsessed with getting him to sleep longer overnight. Hi, Coo. Come up. Yes. Yes. Come on. Yes. Just be careful. That's it. Good boy. You guys want to see Coops? You did little Miles. I think it's so normal for parents to be obsessed with sleep. And even I, coming from someone who has done research into baby sleep, and I know how it goes, just that they can be really unsettled or they're not, and there's not a lot you can do. You can do some things. I am definitely planning on sleep training when he's old enough, which I never thought that I would do. Probably feel like he's sleeping a little bit downhill at the moment. It's okay. It's okay, honey. Oh, you ready for wakies, are you? I don't know what time it is. Day naps I think I will still record because I need the time. And if I can get him back to sleep for another half an hour, I think I will. Oh. Oh. Hello, baby. Hello. You've been sleeping. You've been sleeping. Oh, darling. For all those Cooper fans, I'll tell you guys that we're doing pretty okay with Cuckoo Bear. He's not aggressive. He just has these fatal flaws he does with everyone where he steps on you and doesn't care that it may or may not hurt. So we've had to be very careful with him around Mr. Miles in his Hogwarts outfit. He's just walked away now because he will step on him. He's starting to understand not, but then he came into the house the other day and ran in so crazily that I didn't even have time to realise, and he leapt over Miles. So I guess that's bad parenting, but also he got in so much trouble for doing that because he just needs to come in the house slowly. But I've also noticed in terms of connection with him, he'll be he's been very sooky since Miles has been born with me and with Daniel. If I'm breastfeeding Miles on the couch and Daniel's also sitting up there, he'll want to jump up straight away and cuddle with Daniel. And then similarly, when Miles is gone, he just wants to be all over me. And I've noticed that I'll have to keep him inside with me a few days in the week. I still want him to have some outside time and then also so I get some space as well. But he tends to handle the morning a lot better when Daniel's gone and it's just me and Miles. He tends to handle that a lot better when he's been inside for a couple of days with me because we put Miles in his bed for a nap and then Coop gets to stay up with me. So I think he enjoys that. But I'm going to go so that we can feed us all. Hey, I'm going to talk to you guys quickly while I decide what I want to wash out of this. Priorities. Last night I did my first... I might use an underwear bag again. Oh my god. Using an underwear bag. That has not happened since before Miles. And I'm feeling good enough to do that. Excellent. Last night was our first night recording without recording sleep and just going with it. And it was really good. I highly recommend, within reason, obviously, because I know people had said this to me or I'd read about this in the past, but I was really not ready to not track things because I started tracking it mainly because the nurses would ask me questions and ask about wet nappies and how many poos and when's he sleeping and when are you breastfeeding and how long. And it was just too much at the beginning to think about and to remember and record. So I'm really grateful to being able to record stuff, which I was doing it on the Huckleberry app. And I still have that because I think I still want to record day naps just so I don't have to remember when. But I think in terms of length of breastfeeding, even during the day, I'm not going to record it because I don't really think it needs it. I do like having the reference of how long it was since I fed him. It was so freeing because last night I had started to record his night sleeps and then remembered that I wasn't going to do that. And it was so freeing to turn it off and not be, before I went to bed, be thinking, oh, he's been asleep for 2 hours. I'm only going to get like an hour's sleep maybe. I didn't even think that. It was so good. So good. It's so exciting. This is the denim jacket I got. Isn't it cute? I just love pink at the moment. It's just my favourite colour. I think I'm going to put them in the next wash. I might put, because I'm putting some pooey things in there, I'm going to put bleach. Not bleach, I'm going to put in nappy sand, like a stain remover, and I don't want my nice stuff to potentially get wrecked, so I'm going to do them in another wash. Ties in with the whole trusting myself as a mother that I haven't felt as, oh, there's another pair by the way, that I haven't really lent into as much, but I'm going to a lot more now. I've had a bit of frustration these past few days about getting comments from people that are well-meaning but that still make me feel like they're doubting my motherly ability, and that is just so frustrating to be hearing that kind of stuff. But I'm just learning that I'm his mum. I'm with him 24/7 pretty much. I know what I'm talking about. I am the authority. The only other person who gets to question my judgment is Daniel, the baby's father and my husband. So nobody else gets to. They can ask questions if they want, that's fine. But if I give the response, then that's it. That's it, that's decided. And I've just been feeling like that hasn't been being taken into account by some people. Not really maliciously, but it's still frustrating me. I also like that I don't have a response to people who may be asking about sleep, because that's a question that we get as well, and I would be like, oh, let me look at my app so I know how much he's been sleeping, what hours and stuff like that. Now it's good to just be like, yeah, wakes up a few times, here's a small stomach. I don't record it, just gone with the flow. But I do, again, not to shame anybody that does like recording it, because I did need to, but now I'm ready not to. And that's another thing that I'm learning, is that the game is always changing, and do what works until it doesn't work anymore. And this has stopped working, so I made the change and I'm feeling positive about it, even though it's only been one day. Hey guys, we are off to go see my grandparents. My mum will also be there, and my great auntie and uncle who haven't seen Miles, so that'll be a lot of fun. And I try to get to my grandparents around about once a week, sometimes not as often. I especially didn't visit as often when I was heavily pregnant, because I was really tired and I'd changed my work hours, so I finished late so that I could finish early one day, and that was kind of hard to go and see them. But I am typing up, as well as wanting to visit them obviously because I get on really well with them, I'm also typing up my grandpa's memoirs, and we have a deadline to get them finished by January next year, so we are typing away, and then I'm going to read it all like a book. I'm going to edit it very lightly, just look for spelling, and occasionally he'll have wanted to insert a bit up above that he sort of went on with his life and then remembered, oh yeah, that happened back there, so I'm doing that. But otherwise it's just a lot of fun, and a fun way to learn about my grandpa and my grandma as well when she comes into the story. So Miles and I are strapped in and ready to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey guys, this is the new bathroom shot, isn't it? My standard area. I'm just going to be quick because I really need to have a read of the book that I'm currently reading, which is Beartown. I don't really talk about books on this channel. Would you guys like brief book talks in the middle of vlogs, or like a separate reading vlog? I'm not really sure. I would like to do reading vlogs on my other channel, on my book one, but I just feel redundant doing that and wrap-ups at the end of the month where I describe about what books I've been doing. Anyways, I really want to read this, but I just want to quickly say that I woke up yesterday morning, or in the middle of the night, with conjunctivitis, which is fantastic. You can't really see, it's this poor eye here. It's, can you see any redness? I don't know, it's actually doing pretty good. Either I got onto it really quick, or it was just a mild case, or these eye wipes that I've been using, they're technically babies and children's ones. I had them left over for Miles. He had a blocked tear duct when he first was born, and I don't know whether they have cleared it up really well, but I did get some antibiotic drops from the chemist, and I've been doing them really regularly, and that it's pretty good. It's still itchy, and last night it was really irritated as well. I just needed to go to sleep because my eye was so sore at having to be open and still function like an eye while it's sick. It's so hard to not touch your eye, and my hair's actually, this is the first time I've actually done it and pulled it back. Normally it's just unbrushed or just brushed. And it kept getting near my eye this morning, so I kept doing I touched my eye once when I was feeding Miles and went, shit, I'm gonna hold this hand in quarantine, and then my other hand touched it. It's like, fuck's sake. So he was in a towel. We were doing some nappy free time, so I was able to get him down on his playmat and then run to the bathroom and wash my hands, so he should be fine. But yay for that, and I guess this is the start of all the illnesses that come along with having children. I'm thinking that I have rubbed my eye when changing his nappy or something, which is to think about, but also he's only doing breast milk poops, so that's not that bad. Anyways, I'm going to start reading, and I will talk to you guys in my next episode. Hey guys, I just wanted to talk about, as a way to round out this August vlog, a tough, or probably maybe like the or one of the toughest parenting decisions I'm having to make / let go of, and you'll get an update of how it goes in the September vlog. Basically, Miles was starting to stretch out his sleep. From the end of the last feed, he was sleeping about 3 hours minimum, stretching it out to 5, and then all of a sudden in the last week he's been going only 2 hours from the start of the last feed. So that's a big difference. Translating that to the end of the feed is sometimes only an hour and a half of sleep, which is really shit. He would do a really good stretch of sleep in the first part of the evening when we were all out here, me, Daniel and the dog. But then from that next feed, which was anywhere between 11 and 1, he would then wake up really frequently. And I didn't know whether, thinking maybe he's going through the 4-month sleep regression, because they can go through it from 3 months or more. He's 3 months at the moment. I was getting ready to batten down the hatches when we went to Canberra on the weekend. I didn't worry about letting him cry a little bit. So for those who, I don't think I've talked about this actually, I am quite comfortable with letting him cry for a couple of minutes. Generally it's about 5, sometimes as much as 7 to 10, depending on whether I'm on the toilet or bringing groceries or something like that. I'm okay with that. The amount that I can tolerate varies depending on the day, but honestly, Miles sleeps so much better in that regard. I have relatives that come over that want to rock him to sleep or hold him when he's having a nap, which can be really nice, but he still has to have a cry, unless I'm sitting here and he's boobing to sleep and then I don't disturb him, or I put him in his bassinet and he will just go to sleep in his bed. Otherwise, if someone wants to hold him while he's sleeping, he will sook, because he is generally so stimulated by what's going on that he can't get to sleep and he gets tighter and tighter. So he's always been a baby that's how he sleeps. He seems to want to sleep independently, which is great, because I did think about co-sleeping, but I don't super feel comfortable myself doing it. Nothing against anybody else who knows how to do it. Learn to do it safely. Some babies want to sleep very close to you for whatever reason. Miles seems to be a baby that's happy to be in his own bed. Over the weekend when we went to Canberra, I was staying at a relative's house, and I didn't want to keep us up and him up unnecessarily. I didn't know how long he was going to cry for, but I was committed to doing it once we'd gotten home, so I just fed him to sleep those couple of times, but I didn't want him to get into the habit of being fed to sleep. So I said to Daniel, if you want to sleep in another room, that's fine, but I'm gonna let him have a cry. I would get up and get him as soon as he started to stir, and I would pop him on my boob, and he would, hello Koopy, he would fall asleep within 5 minutes, because all he was getting was not food at this point, it was just comfort. So that's what we decided to do. Oh, hello. This one's also still very sooky and wanting hugs. And this was kind of going okay. The Sunday night, it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. He did wake up and I did hear him, but he went back to sleep within like minutes of just having a little cry. And then the night before, he cried for a fair bit longer, was trying to go to sleep for a while, and I got up, and probably about 20 minutes or something, where he would start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. So I got up when I thought I needed to and reassured him, but then his crying got even worse. So I was thinking, okay, I think this is one of these times where he didn't need me. I just let him go. And so last night then, which like the one that I've just woken up from because it's like 7 o'clock in the morning or something. I knew the different types of cries at this point because I've been listening to it, and his kind of like protesty, little grumbly cries I didn't respond to because I knew that if I would go and respond to him, then he would get worse. And I did at some stage because he sounded like he was getting worse, and then I went and responded to him, and he got really shrill and then stopped. That was fine, but he kept waking up whenever we would rustle, and the alarms would go off because Daniel still has to go to work and make money. And then he finally got to sleep because Daniel had gotten up, and he doesn't mind noise out here. I think it's more noise in the room that he's sleeping in. Totally fair enough. That was fine. And then Daniel left the room and he went back to sleep, and the dog started barking, which is not really Cooper's fault because there were people walking outside the house and he's just trying to protect the home. But that, I just felt it's funny because half of my instinct has been telling me, all my anxiety, that I didn't want him to move out of our room. He hasn't started rolling yet or showing signs of rolling, so he's still in a bassinet. And I was even thinking when he is showing signs of rolling, I might put the travel cot or the normal cot in here in our room. I know Australian SIDS recommendation is that they sleep in your room for at least 6 months up to 12 months is preferable. And I was really feeling myself that I wasn't ready for him to be sleeping in another room, even though our doors are about 1.5 meters apart and we have a monitor with a camera and sound. I was just not really feeling ready. And I've also been having a lot of, I think it's anxiety around him being kidnapped. I am someone who absolutely really enjoyed listening to true crime podcasts. I would listen to Crime Junkies before he was born, and I can't do it anymore. Not with kids, not being a mum now. There were certain times that I used to not be able to listen to it, like I couldn't at night, but I was fine to listen to it during the day when cleaning and things like that. And I just feel like this real sense of anxiety about Miles being taken, and it's the whole, like, oh man, I'm gonna get upset, but it's probably like I just need to get this out. And I guess trigger warning for everybody, I should have said that. I'll try and put that on the start of the video, but I think that I should talk about it because I haven't voiced it to anybody or in any form aside from in my head, because I try and tell him all the time when he's crying, because even though I say that I'm fine to let him cry, it's still really hard because I know he doesn't understand the concept of, is mum going to come back? Because he doesn't know what time is. He's used to us being connected all the time. I don't want to respond to him every second of the day because he does need to learn that sometimes I'm not going to be there instantly, but I still want him to know and trust that I will come back, even if it feels like a while for him, but that I'll be there. And what gets me so much when I think about like being a mum now and everything is so much more exemplified when I think about stuff that kids go through. And I just think about those poor kids that do get like abducted and they're just wanting their parents to come. That's the worst thing for me, just imagining Miles being in that situation and wanting me to come get him, and as much as like I obviously would want to and I can't, and just like the thought of him being there with some horrible person and just thinking, where is my mum? She promised she would always come and get me. I'm sure this is emotions that most parents go through. I went and changed him, I think Sunday night or something, when I was really feeling like every little noise I get spooked by now. So I'm just, I can't listen to even just normal crime about grown-up people. I just can't. I think I need some space from it, and I would really like to eventually get back to it, because I find it, on the one hand, really entertaining, but on the second hand, I like being aware about that stuff because it does happen, and I like being another voice that keeps the awareness out in the world. Since I've Googled it a bit more, when I realised just how anxious I was feeling about this, that it's very rare, even though it happens more than it ever should. But stranger abduction is really rare for kids. Often it'll be someone that you know, which is still not obviously good, but I was picturing stranger just breaking in, because I've listened to some of the most, at the time, interesting and horrific, but some of the most meticulous abductors, and it's horrible. So I have all this imagination in my head. I don't watch horror movies, I don't watch thrillery movies, because I can't walk around my house and I can't feel safe. So I don't do that, and I don't think I can listen to true crime podcasts anymore at the moment. I went and changed him, because I'm trying to tell the story. I went and changed him Sunday night, and I was feeling a bit like, but it's fine, the dog will bark or whatever. And the vacuum cleaner fell over. We have this stick vacuum that was standing up, and in the middle of changing him, it fell over, and it scared the absolute crap out of me, because I was just like, holy shit, who, and then Daniel come out because he heard me and he thought that I dropped the baby or something. And that was nice that, Daniel was in like a deep sleep and says that he doesn't wake up, but because I exclaimed in fright or whatever, he woke up. I think Miles is ready to sleep in his own room so that he can sleep and I can sleep, and Daniel too, obviously, and Cooper, but he doesn't have much of a care in the world as a dog except for protecting the home. It's hard, this parenting thing. It's really hard, because you have to make these decisions. I've never felt it as acutely now, even being a woman, but there's things that I know that I can do to keep myself safe. But it's just trusting that Miles can, and at the moment he doesn't know anything because he's a baby in blissful ignorance. I think it'll be about later on, teaching him all these things, and that's why we learn stranger danger and stuff. But it's just really hitting me how big of a responsibility that is. I want to get it right, but also knowing at the same time that I can make him as prepared as possible, and there's nothing I can do. And I don't know how the universe picks people, all the people that this happens to. Sorry to make this a bit morbid. This was supposed to be like I'm learning as a parent and growing sort of thing. I keep writing down in my diary things that I want to remember, try and be a good parent so that I don't get stuck. If I think Miles has got dickhead friends or in a dead-end job, to remember to ask him why he likes that said thing, like, why do you like those friends? Why do you like that job? And if he can't, or if he won't answer me, depending on how old he is, then I would want to say, well, have a think about it and let me know. Because I would hope then that at least if it turns out that he's not happy in that situation, that he thinks about it and then maybe would take the steps to get out of it. Just one of those things where I'm trying to remember, because I want the very best for him, but I don't want him to feel like I'm controlling his life. I want to give him the tools to succeed, but then also know at the same time that my definition of success isn't necessarily the same as his. I'm gonna go now because this has been like 20 minutes long, but it's been really cathartic, and I think I needed to get that out and to say something, so I'm sorry if that's triggering for anybody, but talk about your feelings because it really helps. Alright, bye.